For me, I went into it, and done a bit of research on it, talked to a couple of people that were on the course, previous on the diploma, previous to me, so that's a lot of positive feedback. For me, it's a lot about self-awareness. As much as I was developing myself, it was much about self-awareness, so taking out a mirror and kind of reflecting back on myself to see where I am. The coaching program itself contains an enormous amount. You get such an insight into many different areas, and in some ways, although it's 6 months and there's a lot in some ways you could probably cover more and more and more in another 6 months, and it kind of leaves you wanting more. And so that's the idea of it, to get a kind of a taster of different areas. There's one-to-one coaching, there's team coaching, there's various different elements that go into it. I suppose what I took out of it, apart from the self-awareness and seeing where I was, what I took out of it in terms of a skill set was just kind of dealing and managing people as best I could. We went into a lot about personality and emotional intelligence and how to deal with conflict, and just kind of respecting people's boundaries and how to ask questions. All these little nuances, I suppose, that when you add them all together, they're quite powerful in terms of how you deal, and maybe looking forward for my own particular career going forward, how you deal with people, how you get the best out of people, and that's something I think that'd be invaluable to me going forward. Completely, in the sense that I was so uncomfortable in that environment. I was in a class of just over roughly 30 people, and all of them probably had 5, 10, 15 years experience more than I had in a corporate environment. But I suppose from my background, I suppose I brought with me a 5, 6, 7, 8 year elite sporting performance background. So I was very, very uncomfortable in that sense. So I was very quiet for the first few modules until I kind of found my feet and got kind of a bit of confidence and belief in that what I had was just as valuable as somebody else who had a different perspective on things. So I suppose it did give me that perspective on what a corporation type team is like. What I suppose I didn't probably fully appreciate what goes on. My background was in recruitment, so it's a little bit different to some of my colleagues that were on my class programme. But again, team environments are very different in that we probably have one clear defined goal over an 8 or 9 month period, whereas I know businesses might have various different goals, and there's all sorts of challenges, resource and finance and various different things. So I suppose just getting an appreciation of that was just as invaluable as seeing how that particular team outside of a sporting environment does work. I definitely had more to give than I actually thought I did. I suppose I'm an autopilot a little bit in a sporting context, in that I try to deliver stuff that I don't really comprehend, maybe what other people outside of that maybe haven't have experience or exposure to. So from that point of view, I gained a lot of confidence in that. People are asking me questions, probably around pressure and dealing with pressure in those clutch situations in front of massive crowds, having to execute a particular skill or make a decision on a split second and be it the right decision. Whereas maybe there's a little bit more of a buffer or time in a different setting that the sports people don't really have. So I suppose trying to bring that attitude into class was something that I found people wanted to know more about. Probably about dealing, as well as that, probably dealing with the time that you have. So with a full-time job, and then you're trying to more or less put in a full-time sporting, career on top of that, and relationships and family and everything else. So probably dealing with, your time management, but trying to fit everything in and be the best you can possibly be with the hour or 2 or 3 hours that you have, whereas a full-time professional rugby player or whatever happens, they have a full Monday to Friday, whereas you really only have either before work or after work. And so getting that balance was something that they were interested to hear about, and how I'm trying to achieve and maybe have the last couple of years, but certainly trying to get better at achieving that balance overall. I definitely would ask a lot better questions in a high pressure environment of myself and of others. Before this experience for me in the IMI, I would have probably just went through and just whatever felt right at the time. I would have maybe just relied on my gut, which sometimes worked and sometimes didn't. Whereas now I'm probably reflecting for that split second a little bit more upon myself or on others to make sure that it's the right decision, as opposed just to relying on maybe a small bit of chance. So from that perspective, it's definitely helped give me that reassurance, but also the skill sets to actually know that reflecting for that one moment in time could produce a lot more positive or knock-on effects than previous to the course. That's certainly the aim. Dublin are always under pressure to perform and get to the All-Ireland final and potentially try and win them at the end each September. We're certainly trying to do so, trying to keep my place and keep my jersey is my #1 focus, and if we can all do that, we'll be in with a decent shot.